also the turntables, is what it says here. This fucking city bike Karen bullshit. I don't know what the hell to think about it anymore. Okay, so in case you didn't know, there was a video a few days ago where this Bellevue worker in New York City started arguing with a group of black teens about a rentable city bike that she claimed to have purchased, but the kids said that they purchased it and said that they had the receipts, and like she was being a total Karen, and she had all of the signs of being a Karen. The video showed fake crying and like trying to weaponize tears and say help, help, help. And then the next day her lawyer said he's got a copy of her receipt and it was her bike. And on Reddit, the people who posted this crap deleted it. Everyone was calling her a Karen, and then everybody started backpedaling. And now the latest thing is that the receipt was a fake, and the teenagers had a receipt, and I don't even know what to think of this shit anymore.
$100 grand for a Karen to go hire a PR firm to make a black kid look bad. Yeah, this is the trash Karen that you guys gave money to, so she can go hire a PR firm and some lawyers to go make the black kid look bad and sue everybody that calls her a Karen because she's a...
So, that is what happened. That is what she's doing. Because she was in her uniform from work when this happened and it went viral, now, you know, her employer had put her on a leave and they're doing this investigation because it is one of their employees, and if she was really being a Karen, then they've got to make sure before they fire her or whatever. And of course, they started this GoFundMe thing for her, and it raised, I don't even know how much money it raised, but apparently she's using it not just for attorneys. She also used it so that she could hire a PR firm, public relations experts, because the word Karen is going around. She is known as a Karen, and she doesn't like that. So now she is spending thousands of dollars on public relations experts to try to bash these teenagers. That's what she's been using her money on.
Implying that the black kid stole the bike from her.
Her lawyer provided us these receipts showing she had rented the bike in question. In fact, the bike number on the receipt actually matches the bike she is seen being pushed off of in the video. Do you trust him to fairly investigate this, and if charges are warranted, bring them?
These fucking cunt-ass jackasses on News Nation talking about the narrative, oh, maybe we should press charges on the black kids for shoving her off the bike, and then they got the bombshell of a receipt with a redacted timestamp. Okay, so this is what actually fucking happened. The black kid, who probably has an annual membership, is allowed to take any bike he wants for up to 45 minutes before he has to redock. How do I fucking know? I'm fucking from New York, and you can Google that shit. If he didn't redock the bike, then he'd get charged for every minute it's still out. So he docks it, hoping to take it back out again, all of which is on his account. And what does the Karen do? It's like, oh, I want your bike. And what makes his bike special? There are two types of city bikes in New York City. One's electric and one's not. So like, one you have to pedal harder than the other. She saw the kid probably dock the bike and was like, hey, can I have that? And he's like, nah, I'm not done with it. And she tried to scan her phone anyways when he docked it. And how do I know my version of the story is fucking true? Because the kid's sister literally has the timestamps for when he took the fucking bike out. The kid literally has two fucking receipts. One...
Okay, so apparently what they're saying is that this kid had the bike. He docked it. But the reason that he docked it was because it has to be docked within 45 minutes, or else it's going to charge you by the minute or by the mile. I don't know. I've never used one of those public city bikes, but so if he doesn't want to be charged extra, it has to go into the docking station, or else he's going to have to pay extra. So what this dude is saying is that he had the bike and it was the electric model. So, you know, it's a lot less effort to use. And he had the bike and just wanted to put it in and take it out of the dock so that it wouldn't charge him. And what City Bike Lady did was she saw him docking the bike and said, I want that bike now. And he said, no, I'm not done with it. I have to put it in the dock physically so that I can take it back out again so I don't get charged. I'm trying to renew my 45 free minutes or whatever. And I guess what he is saying is that Karen just saw him put the bike in the dock and then put her hands on it because now it's her turn with it. And the kid is like, no, I'm still using this bike. And that's where we get into the nitty-gritty here as far as legalities go. Because if she was able to scan it, once he put it in the dock, then it would be her bike. But there's another video from the kid's sister saying that he has the receipts. He has the legitimate receipts that show that both times he took out the bike. So first you have a Karen that everybody thought was a Karen, and they started bashing her. And then her lawyer said, nope, I got a receipt. Everybody backs off. Now apparently this guy and other people and the kid's sister is saying, no, that's not how it worked. He was trying to dock it so he could take it back out because of time. She saw him dock it, so she put her hands on it. She wanted it. And her receipt has no timestamp. But she says, my brother has all of his receipts, and here they are timestamped. I don't know.
From 6:33 to 7:15, and the next one from 7:25 to 7:33. And guess where that video fucking took place? She literally starts crying for fucking help 1 minute before he got a chance to take it back out again. But nah, leave it up to the internet to go pay a fucking Karen 120 grand so she can go write some op-eds pretending like they're fucking news pieces about how she's the victim here. Oh, and shout out to the fucking PR firm, aka Dustin Siggins.
120 grand had been put in for her, which she has used so far for lawyers and a PR firm to try to eliminate the Karen moniker because of this situation. And, you know, there's a lot of people out here that are saying, you know, why is this national news? Why is this important? And why should we care? Why are we getting so involved with the story about a freaking city bike in New York and who it belonged to and who it didn't belong to? I'm just going to say this. It is important. I think it is important to bring it up. It's become a controversial thing. It's not about the actual situation. It's not about a bike and who had it first, okay? The problem now, the reason it's gotten so controversial and everything is because now you have this woman whose job, whose livelihood, and whose reputation is on the line now because of this incident. Yeah, we know. Who cares about two people disputing over a city bike? Yeah, it isn't something that should be disputed. It isn't something people should be arguing about. It isn't something that you would think would be a big federal case. The reason it is because of the fact that people's lives and their privacy and their jobs are at stake over this. You know, it is a little bit bigger than just an argument over a city bike. I don't know what to believe anymore. Here's my take. Why the fuck is this national news? It's about culture war. It's because, you know, cell phones, they had to record the incident. They had to put it online. So now once it's online, everybody is going to come to a preemptive decision on this. And the people involved, and now her employer is involved. You know, jobs and privacy and livelihoods are on the line because of this being put online. Never trust influencers making videos about shit. The guy who posted this is basically saying the woman is a racist Karen who's trying to steal the bike. The likely outcome is none of that is strictly true. How do we know he's not making the story up? What qualifies him? It is possible that the first dude did dock his bike, and that's when the woman scanned it, which made it hers, but he still expected to get the bike back. The point, don't believe anything. You have to leave it to the lawyers and courts to figure it out. Believe they are receipts and they are against her. Don't let it hurt you to believe the black kid. Fucking eye roll at you. What did he say? What's more likely? An adult, fully employed, pregnant nurse coming off a long shift decides to go up alone to a large group of male teens and aggressively try to steal their bike from them, or a group of male teens started harassing a woman who was by herself and took her bike for fun. Pretty cut and dry to me. The fact that anyone questions what happened shows how fucked up the nation is, where anyone would believe these kids over a female nurse based on skin color. Swap the races and I guarantee no one would side with the white teens. They'd get doxxed, get death threats, would be expelled from school and charged with crimes. Did you even watch the video? You're literally doing exactly what you're talking about, except you choose to believe the white woman because she's a white woman, and condemning the black kids because they're black. Did you watch the fucking video? Not overly invested in this, but the nurse's receipt has the timestamp redacted. The young man's receipts include all of those timestamps. You know,
what I don't get is why the hell would either party choose to stand there bitching and arguing over a bike? I think it's already been said there were multiple bikes in the dock. So, yeah, they're all immature, honestly. It's like watching children. To be fair, that was 9 minutes after the kid docked the bike. You can't hover the bike like that because you want to retake it 10 minutes after you dock. Oh, so he had to wait 10 minutes after docking it to take it out again? If it is as this dude says it is, then it should have been docked and immediately undocked. There's probably a minimum docking time to avoid exactly what this kid was trying to do, which is extend the bike usage time. It's meant to be used as transit, not a toy. So city bike people expect a 45-minute bike ride to be the maximum amount of time somebody is allowed to use the bike without extra money. The kid was essentially saving his space, and here comes a woman who wanted to use the bike. So he checked the bike in, which was required, and she came up to check the bike out, as she's legally allowed to do. You don't get dibs on a particular bike for the entire damn day. That's the entire point of having to redock it after 45 minutes. Ah, okay. You pay for access to the bikes, not a particular bike. The system is designed this way specifically to avoid this shit. So people cannot hog one bike for the entire damn day. So how do we know which receipt is real and not fake? They're both real. Kid rents a bike, doesn't want to pay extra past the 45 minutes, so he docks it. He's sitting there waiting for the few minutes to go by so he can take it right back out again. But during this time, the nurse comes out from work and decides to rent it because it's there and she wants it. Encounter ensues. 1 minute after renting the bike, it's docked. You can see in the video, it's still in the woman's hands. He shoves it back into the dock so he can re-rent it. If that's true, then why didn't the nurse just say, here's the receipt with all the timestamps visible? Yeah, right. He docked the bike. She came up and unlocked the bike. That means it's now hers to use. It's not that complicated. Bike company should be to blame. He has membership which allows him to take any bike he wants, which was a receipt for disaster. Huh, this TikTok is absolute garbage. Why does everyone need to veer so far to a side? Nah, it's okay. He must be correct because he's from New York. Instantly making him the arbiter of all New York-based arguments. Oh, shit. Either way, they both thought they had the right to the bike. Fair enough. So does that make her racist? All this name calling when both parties legitimately thought the bike was there. The woman lost her job and is now being labeled a racist. I believe she's justified in wanting to clear her name. It's the fake crying and yelling help as if she was being assaulted when she could have just spoken like an adult. The way she was yelling could have led to someone jumping these kids thinking they were attacking her. When you return the bike, that means it's open to the public to rent. It is not his anymore. NYC bro should know this. Apply this mindset to a taxi. Person A requests taxi to let them out at a location because it's cheaper. They pay and then refuse to get out or let anyone else get back into the taxi for the next 5 minutes because they never learn the concept of sharing. Person B is 6 months pregnant and wants to get home after a long shift. Person B should not have to get your permission to use the taxi because your ride is finished. Except in this scenario, there are also 5 other taxis sitting around, and the woman decides to get in this taxi with the dude and start screaming for help. She had the receipt, end of story. Guy docked the bike because there's a wait period before booking it again. During that few minute wait period, the woman comes out and books the bike. Now it's hers. You can't just hover over the bike during the waiting period. Call dibs on a bike that's being docked. She's not the Karen he is. Oh, God. Trust me, bro, I live in New York, so this must be how it happened. I don't know, Chief. Anecdotal evidence is easily some of the most dismissible there is. Ah, okay. Get over it, Jesus. I'm tired of seeing this posted every day. What bothers me is 5 teenage boys versus a woman who's 6 months pregnant. No matter how you spin this, you give up the fucking bike to her. It's like not wanting to give up your seat to the pregnant woman on the bus. Our society is pathetic. blah, blah, blah. Before the edited video starts, she had signed out the bike and they pushed it back in to complete her ride so that the kid could order it again, which provided him a new receipt. Ah. I fucking knew that receipt shit was a lie. He docked it at 7:15. Interaction happened at 7:24, 9 minutes later. His second receipt starts at 7:25. You can literally see him push the bike back into the dock so that he can claim it again. That's not how it works. Ah, okay. You can't claim a piece of property that you don't even own. User agreements don't do shit for you if you haven't rented and started a session. I know what he was doing. Parked the bike to stop the charge, but wanted to make sure he got it as soon as he was ready to leave. Unfortunately, that ain't how shit works. Everyone is going from believing him to believing her when all we have to base our beliefs on is what we're being told by people on social media. From what I'm getting, the context is this. He had rented the bike but didn't want to pay extra, so he would have had to return it before 45 minutes is up. In order to keep that same bike, he was going to guard it, which means he was going to stick it in the dock and then wait so many minutes so that he could re-rent it again. While it's sitting in the dock, he's going to stand there and guard it because he intends to take it out again. However, while he's waiting, she comes out from work, rents the bike, and takes it out because now it's her turn. He tries to stop her and accuses her of stealing his bike, shoving it back into the port so that he could try to rent it again. She thinks he's trying to steal her bike. Emotions take over. He had an unlimited pass that lets you rent the bike for 45 minutes. If you don't want to pay per minute, you have to stick it in a dock after 45 minutes. You then have to wait a 10-minute grace period, which would allow other users to rent the bike and specifically prevents a single user from trying to tie up a bike for the entire day. If it goes unused for 10 minutes, then you can recheck out the bike on your unlimited plan. He was at the end of his 45-minute window and had to stick it in the dock and wait 10 minutes. However, while waiting the 10 minutes, this woman came out and she rented it. So, she rented it, she pulled the bike out. He knows he has no rights to it for another few minutes, so he harassed her to stall for time and then shove the bike back into the dock so that he could rent it again. Why return the bike if you're going to take it right back out? Because he didn't want to pay extra. There's no time before somebody else can rent it. That's the whole point of renting it. You don't own it. When you check a book back into the library, you don't tell the librarian, don't let anybody else check out this book because I might come back in 10 minutes to get it. You can't claim ownership of the bike you docked. The moment he does, it's up for grabs by anyone. Ah. Oh, she hired lawyers in the PR firm because so many people have had their lives destroyed by these viral bullshit videos. Yep, my beef at this point is with whoever uploaded this video. This shit didn't need to go public regardless of who was at fault. Fuck whoever filmed this and uploaded it on the internet for no damn reason. Yeah, I'll agree with that. Ew.
Yeah, this is the trash.
Yeah, fuck you, dude. Yes, Oath Keeper founder and leader Stuart Rhodes sentenced to 18 years in federal prison for seditious conspiracy. The judge applied a large terrorism enhancement to his sentence for the remorseless Rhodes, whom he called dangerous. My God, that's so awesome. Now let's do the same to the main instigator and conspirator. It's coming. It's been coming for 2 years. Before anybody tries to say justice moves slow, it moves even slower for some. Cross my fingers, but won't be holding my breath. Play stupid games, win stupid prizes. He did fuck around and definitely found out. He already did when he shot his own eye out when he was a safety instructor doing a course. How many J6 insurrectionists are calling their lawyers today to ask if the plea deal is still on? Did a real crackerjack job defending freedom. I hope Enrique Tarrio is watching so he sees what's coming for him as well. Fuck all of these fascist Nazi bastards. That's a mighty long time to have to sleep with one eye open. Excuse me, sir, but I'll have you know he only has one eye because his skill with firearms is so great he shot out the other one. Behold the master race. Cool. Now go do that to all the folks who started it all. 3 names: Clanny Oakley, Drumpf, and Jim Jordan. Bye-bye. This guy was trying to claim he actually deserves special treatment because of his loyal time in a terrorist organization. It was just a prank, bro. He called himself a political prisoner. Said he's being jailed for opposing the ones actually destroying the country and promising he would do it again once he got out. Yeah, how old will he be when he gets out? He looks like he's in his 50s now. Ah, lunatic. Ooh, Ron Perlman. Oh, I love Ron Perlman. You know, he's one of those guys that, like, people say is so unattractive, but it seems to make him very, very attractive. I mean, Ron Perlman is sexy. I totally do him. Congrats, America. You'll finally have that true Nazi choice to hand over the power to. Heck, the guy burns books, highlights non-Aryans as enemies, and spends millions on a police force happy to crack heads. Welcome to the fray, Governor DeSantis. Thank you for showing us who you are. Ugh. God. I'm going to watch The Last Supper again tonight. He doesn't have a big part in it, but he's hilarious. Pudding! That's my guy. Zip zap zoobity bop. the pudding pop. Twitter Blue is basically white supremacist Twitter. I fucked around and found out. Yup. But her emails. This is one weird ass depiction of Trump. I mean, is that supposed to be his mouth? Wisconsin's finest, Glenn Grothman, is on the House floor right now complaining that Biden isn't nominating enough straight white guys as judges. Aww. Okay. Okay. Oh, this is very old. This is old. Oh, for the undeserved confidence of those men who can twist a flaccid performance into a triumph, and for whom any attention is positive, even if glaringly negative. I guess it's me being shrill again, but the top story among serious people is the debt ceiling talks. Also, honoring the late great performer Tina Turner. Okay. Extra butters. A republic if you can keep it. Working on it, Ben. One down, many more to come. Goodbye, traitor. DeSantis responding to the latest Trump attack. I know you are, but what am I? Francis, is that his name? When I was a kid, I hated Pee Wee Herman show. I never watched Pee Wee's Playhouse. I so hated it. But I fucking loved the Pee Wee movies. I couldn't get enough of them. And this was Pee Wee's neighborhood bully. Some middle-aged fat guy. And I mean, we bought it. I don't know. Kids are weird. Aww. Breaking news, Ron DeSantis bans Tina Turner Memorial in the state of Florida. Ugh. God. Give us back the leg in the wheelchair, or the poverty-stricken senior citizen gets it. Aww. What is so inappropriate about children wearing rainbows? Walk up and tell my kid, you take it up the ass and see what I do to you. That's exactly what this shit is. Yeah, conservative logic. That's so fucking sick. This is how these people actually think. I want to see what they got to say about the Oath Keeper founder. NBC. PBS. "60 Minutes." Defendant in Trump riot case throws tantrum over being held in jail. Well, of course. Okay, let's go for this one. I'm going to take a little break.
Just left court. Tell us what led the judge to impose an 18-year sentence.
Now, this is the longest sentence in any U.S. Capitol riot prosecution. 18 years will keep Stewart Rhodes in prison up to the 2040s. By orders of magnitude, this was the most serious January 6 case to get to sentencing, and it felt that way in the courtroom. An absolutely withering hour transpired as the judge heard Stewart Rhodes' argument and then delivered that sentence. What Judge Amit Mehta said when he issued the 18-year sentence is that he believes Stewart Rhodes remains a threat to American democracy, a person who puts the well-being of America in peril, and says if not for Stewart Rhodes, any number of the accused Oath Keepers would never have come to Washington, D.C. January 6th. He said Stewart Rhodes was, in fact, somebody who galvanized some of the violence that day and is responsible for so much of what happened that day. And that's what always has separated this case. Stewart Rhodes was not just accused of being here in Washington January 6th and trying to oppose the transfer of power. He was charged with and convicted of seditiously conspiring to block the transfer of power, of being a plotter and a planner. Stewart Rhodes tried to ask for leniency today, tried to make an argument, but much of it was a politically charged invective against the Biden administration about what Stuart Rhodes characterizes the radical left, and a defense of his actions, his group, and a remorseless statement that did not land with the judge.
Scott, you've been tracking all of these prosecutions since January 6th meticulously, and you've been really on top of this. But I'm reading a note that you just sent about the judge's kind of tone and demeanor when he was delivering these remarks at the sentencing. Is this the most kind of visceral reaction you've seen from the bench so far in these cases?
Easily. We've sat through hundreds of sentencing hearings from January 6 cases, and yeah, there have been hundreds of them. This is the largest criminal prosecution in American history. This one was just different. You could feel it in the room. You could sense it from all the people sitting there. The judge, as he tackled the sentencing in the highest level of all the January 6 cases, really painted a bigger picture, expressing concern, not just about what happened January 6th here in Washington, D.C., but about what happens next after the 2024 election. The risk, the latent, if not growing risk of future political violence and the future unbinding of American democracy. The judge was saying what happened January 6th wasn't just a problem on January 6th, but one which continues to divide the country and raises the prospect of future attack. The judge really leaned into that when handing down this sentence, this 18-year sentence, which is by far the longest issued in any Capitol riot case so far.
And with it being the longest, and remember, federal prosecutors were pushing for 25 years, but I'm wondering if this has any potential implications for other January 6 cases.
It most certainly will. There are other seditious conspiracy cases tied to January 6th, which will soon go to sentencing. In fact, one will go to sentencing by the end of this day. Rhodes' co-defendant, Kelly Meggs, for whom the Department of Justice will recommend 21 years in prison. He faces sentencing. So do the members of the far-right Proud Boys, convicted of seditious conspiracy and likely to go to sentencing in late August or early September. So really, this case lays down a marker and a new foundation for what seditious conspiracy in modern-day America brings at court. A couple things to note. The judge was asked to compare this case to other January 6 cases to ensure there weren't unwarranted sentencing disparities. And the judge said this case really is kind of a unicorn. It doesn't line up well with other January 6 cases, despite there being so many of them, because this was the first one to go to sentencing involving seditious conspiracy, plotting to attack the government by force. So he had to compare it to other previous, almost generational sedition cases, and those are kind of apples and oranges.
Yeah. I don't think you would exactly need any precedent for seditious conspiracy. It just is seditious conspiracy. Don't really have to compare it to a different case. I want to hear about this asshole.
And no, I cannot play you the tape of the screaming and yelling at this court hearing, but I can tell you with confidence there was definitely screaming and yelling. Now, we just got the transcript tonight. Because reporters were able to listen in while this thing happened live, we know the tone in which the words in the transcript were uttered. The Washington Post and the New York Times simply called it a, quote, tantrum today. USA Today described the defendant in this case as, quote, erupting. The Daily Beast described him as, quote, losing it in court. And I'm not a good actor, so I'm not sure how much emotion I can accurately convey here, but here it is. The judge. Mr. Barnett, are you with us? You may be muted, Mr. Barnett. We may have lost Mr. Barnett, who is obviously the reason we're all here this morning. Pause. The courtroom deputy, Mr. Barnett. The defendant, Mr. Barnett. Yes, the judge. Thank you for joining us again. Good morning, Mr. Barnett. This is Judge Cooper. Can you hear me? The defendant. Good morning. Yes, I can hear you. The judge. Okay, just like last time, we would obviously usually do this in person, but due to the pandemic, we are proceeding remotely. Are you okay with proceeding via telephone this morning? The defendant. Yes, that's fine. The judge. Okay, very well. If you could mute your phone now, unless we need to hear from you, that would be very helpful. The defendant. Okay, I'll mute now. The judge. Thank you, sir. Then the judge turns to the prosecutors. He says, all right, Ms. Dorman or Ms. McLean, where are we? One of the prosecutors, Nicole McLean, says, yes, Your Honor. And so at this time, I believe there's going to be a change in counsel in this case, which means the defendant is actually changing his defense lawyers, and they're in the middle of that process happening. Prosecutor says, I had sent over to the defense lawyer a proposed protective order in this case for discovery that he was going to share with his client and speak to his client about. We've provided some discovery informally in this case, specifically through the U.S. Attorney's Office in Arkansas. The government is still undertaking this massive effort to gather discovery in this and all of the Capitol riot cases. What the government is going to ask for today is for a continuance of 60 days to gather discovery, to discuss the protective order, and for the new attorneys in the case to get up to speed on what has been done. The judge. And the last time we were here, no plea offer had been extended. Is that still the case? Prosecutor. That is still the case, Your Honor, and that is still the case in all January 6th cases, meaning no January 6th arrestees have been offered a plea deal by the government. The judge says, okay, just out of curiosity, what is the government's estimate of the guidelines range for the dangerous weapons charge here? Have you done that calculation? There's then some discussion between the judge and the prosecutors on how much time in prison the defendant might ultimately be looking at if he's convicted on the dangerous weapons charge he is facing. That resolves like this. The prosecutor. For the
All right. I think this is old, so yeah. Yeah, I hate it when they throw this shit in here. So, anyway, I got some company. I might as well wrap it up here with what I wanted to say. I know that March Against Nazis is full of all these LGBTQ supporters, reminding everybody that Target's reaction to the far right is just another example of companies that are only showing support for sales. This is in reference to the whole attack on Target workers thing. I just wanted to get this out here before I left today. And I can't find anything that said anything about it. Well, yeah. Like this bitch says right here. But everybody knows what it's about. And people from the left are complaining about something called corporate pride. And apparently how Target has backed off in the wake of attacks from the right over their inclusive merchandise. First of all, let's get the obvious out of the way. Attacking a business or workers or customers because the store sells stuff you don't like is terrorism, full stop. Threatening people's lives over t-shirts is terrorism. And whether it's corporate pride or legitimate support, it's actually none of your business. Selling pride-friendly merchandise is literally their business. They decide what they sell. And that's supposed to be the great thing about America, sweetheart. If you have a problem with the merchandise they sell, you go somewhere else and do your shopping. Nobody, anywhere, is forcing you to enter a Target. Nobody, anywhere, is forcing you to buy t-shirts with rainbows on them. If you don't like it, get the fuck out and go to Walmart. Like him or hate him, Michael Moore once said something incredibly poignant on a Howard Stern interview, which bears repeating. One of the primary differences between the right and the left is that when we hear or see something we don't like, we understand that we have a choice. We change the station, we shop at another store, we watch another movie. Nobody anywhere is forcing us to see or hear what we don't want to see or hear. But when it comes to the right, when they see something they don't like, not only do they not want to ever see it again, nobody should see it. Nobody should be allowed to see it. Nobody should be allowed to buy it. And I'm just going to cut it short. I'm going to leave it right there. Maybe I will elaborate more on this when I have some free time. But anyway, thanks to everybody who has been following me in the wake of my clunking through the OG Resident Evil 4. I had to charge up my controller, which is why I stopped earlier today. But I will be getting back to that soon. Anyway, see ya.